In a way, I would say this is a little stupid fashion of driving. You're told to go down the straight and then lift for 2 seconds and then go back on throttle with no brakes. So, the whole speed perspective had reset in my mind. Going down the 1 kilometer straight at 200, 205, 210. Even after you finish your stint and come and get off the car, you still are in a zone. Actually, as I was talking, I was in the car now. Hi everyone, Joel Joseph here. We are here to talk about our experience that we recently had with a wonderful car, an event that we were part of, which made a big difference to how we start looking at the new gen cars. And the car is nothing but the Mahindra XUV700. It was an event which was completely planned, executed by our friends at EVO India, especially our dear friend Sirish Chandran, who executed the entire thing using his experience with endurance record setting attempts and his wonderful team that put the whole episode together. Me and Varun, we were called in to be a part of this program, help them with two sides of the equation. One was the driving stint, and then the second bit was to strategize the whole pit stop and the entire running of the event. Our experience with running race weekends, running cars, running everything at a very, very high level, I think was a important skill set that is required for strategizing the entire pit stop and the whole running of this whole 24-hour stint. It was a one of a kind of experience to go there and see these cars in flesh. It was the first time that I actually saw the XUV700, such a striking visual appeal. The car really looked the part. It was a very different look in the magazines and online when the images surfaced. But once you step inside the car and see the attention to detail and the whole thing, it really makes you understand that the Indian manufacturers have set a completely new bar in terms of equipment, refinement, standards, and the whole norm has changed. It's nothing short of what a German car is or any other highly sophisticated, well-engineered foreign product is. Long story short, we were all set for the big event. So there were 4 cars that were chosen to be a part of this program. So there was the XUV700 manual diesel as the lead car. There was a manual petrol as the second car. There was an automatic diesel, and then there was an automatic petrol. The reason why these 4 cars were set is to strategize the fuel efficiency, the performance, and then to finally ensure that out of the 4 cars, one of them would at least eventually break the record and get the job done. So the diesel manual was obviously going to be the most fuel efficient because slightly quicker, and being a diesel engine would be a lot more fuel efficient in the long run. The petrol manual was definitely quicker than the manual diesel, but then of course going to guzzle a little bit more because of the straight line performance being a little higher. What's surprising is that the first time I took one of the cars out, I don't remember whether it was diesel or petrol. The first time I took the car out, I was quite surprised with the level of acceleration and performance that the car had. Both these cars, the diesel and the petrol, they do 9 odd seconds to 100, and both sub 10 seconds. Quite an amazing feat for a car which is over 1.5 tons front wheel drive to be doing under 10 seconds. And then the fact that these things are so bulletproof, they can go round and round and down the high speed straight, can do a genuine 200 kph, nearly 200 horsepower and genuine 200 kph down the straight in a 1 kilometer is massive impressive effort from cars of this size. I don't think most cars in this segment can even do these kind of speeds and touch these true speeds in such a short span. Stepping into the car and then seeing what these cars can do through the corners, feeling the high speed bowl, at a very, very intriguing angle, at some 47-degree angle or something like that. The view that you get when you keep your head straight is like as if the road is actually going into the sky. So it gives you a very, a paranoid view. The vision isn't very straightforward and isn't very, nice. And then try and see how you can keep your focus in making sure that you're on the fastest lane, and you tweak your mind to not get any wrong thoughts and still keep the throttle completely pinned. And you're doing over 185 k's in the middle of the bowl, and then you're leaned over, and you need to keep your body positioned outside of the lean, so you can actually keep your vision perspective quite different to what it would be. Because if you start looking inside, and then if you lean along with the car and you look straight, you probably might get hallucinated and you might start seeing things. And when this driving stint is happening in the night, it's a completely different ball game, because you have flashes of these lights that are lit all through the track, and every 20 odd meters or so there's an LED light, very very powerful light that's striking onto the surface, and then this light is flashing on your face and then reflecting on the mirror, and then it gives you a second flash, kind of puts you at a different it's very hard to explain how it felt. And I'm sure everyone who did the night stint know what the feeling was. And then to be driving the car into the peak night at 1 a.m. and 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. is quite hard on your eyes as well, and your mind. So it was a crazy effort. Now the event started at 4 p.m. It was slightly a wet start. We had a bit of rain that was throughout the day, and then we started off, and then we kept upping the pace. We kept going on and on. Roughly around 7 o'clock, the sky opened, and then the shower started. It was quite a intense rain, and then we had to call the cars in, and then there was a small pause for about 2 hours, and then the 24-hour stint was scheduled to continue after the rain. We had to do this entire strategy with personally, for me and for Varun, it was a big challenge to ensure that the cars came in at the right time. We fueled in the exact same duration. We ensured that the cars ran right. I would say the pit stop was quite fast, considering there were tire changes and fuel stop, and then basic overview of the car. Roughly about 90 odd seconds was the pit stop, which was quite incredible. The stint went on, the cars came in, the cars went out. The surprising part is that throughout the entire 24-hour stint, not a single car broke down, not a single car had a red alert, not a single failure, not a single damage. The previous record for a 24-hour endurance was under 3,500 kilometers, which was done a few years ago. And today, to break the record by not just 300, 400, 500 kilometers, but a full 1,000 kilometers. The lead car clocked 4,384 kilometers, which I was a part of. I drove along with Sirish and Shana Parmeshwar and Rio and Mr. Leela Krishnan. It was a great team. We were very very happy that we were part of this program. Personally for me and for Varun and for Race Concepts as a brand to be present there. A small thank you note from us. We have no commercial interest with this whole thing. We were just called in to do this thing, and we were more than happy to be a part of it. My thoughts on this car, having had a fair bit of experience on a racetrack and having driven quite a few cars in my life, I think I'm decently qualified to speak about what this car felt while driving. Wearing this t-shirt with the XUV700. This was the same t-shirt we wore during the record attempt. I personally drive a Innova Krista, and I know what an MUV feels like, and having a benchmark car like the Toyota Innova against an XUV700, I must say that this car has come a long way from where Mahindra was. And then purely in terms of what this car is today, in terms of the performance and the comfort, and we were not there to understand the comfort and the features and any of that, but then it was all about putting the car through its most abusive state and then seeing how it felt. So I will clearly be able to talk about the chassis and the powertrain. So, and that's probably my skills at I'm quite good at understanding chassis and engine, and I think from that perspective it's brilliant. It's top notch. It is nothing short of a Volkswagen or a Skoda in terms of how tight the chassis feels. We were actually going down the 1 kilometer straight at 200, 205, 210, and then you hit the bank at roughly 190-ish, and then because just before you hit the bank, you slightly back off throttle. There's no brakes anywhere. You just lift the throttle for maybe a second or two, and then because the sheer size of the car, the force of the air on the car is quite a bit, so there's massive aero drag. So the minute you lift the car for about 2 seconds, you can see the speed will dip quickly to about just under 200. So you're still doing over 195 k's, and then you just go hit the bank, which immediately lifts the car into like a 40 odd degree angle, which is quite a sensational feeling to go hit a bank and then the car just getting thrown off like that. And then you are like, your body is into a shock, and then you need to reconfigure your mind immediately that you are actually entering a different kind of a path. And then the Mahindra test track, it has a very tight bowl, unlike nat tracks and other places where you have a bowl which is at a lesser angle, and the bowl is actually for a longer span. This is roughly under a kilometer, so the bowl is actually quite tight, the angle is quite high. So the amount of effort that the car and the driver needs to put to actually go through that is quite high. The bowl being all left banked, the right suspension is working quite hard. So generally a car, when it goes into a bank like that, you will experience quite a little bit more of body roll. But then this car, being very well sorted on the chassis, had surprisingly a lot less roll. For a car this size, with a higher center of gravity, with a very high roof line, and with higher ground clearance, it was quite surprising that it actually had a very composed body roll. And the transition into the bowl and exiting the bowl was quite linear. I think the damping system that the car has, and the choice of the overall geometry on the car is quite nice, which is what made the car very, very confident, inspiring. I wouldn't dare taking my Innova into that bowl at that speed. I think something would really go wrong, simply because it's ladder chassis and it's body over frame. So this thing going on and on, round and round for about 2 hours, you're doing roughly close to 100 laps or more, I guess. Even after you finish your stint and come and get off the car, you still are in a zone mentally, and you physically start feeling things. A funny incident is that I finished my driving stint on day one at 3:30 in the night, and then the hotel that I was staying at we were at about 50 odd kilometers away or something like that, and it takes about roughly an hour to reach there. So I was driving my car, and this whole perspective of speed was completely it changed in my mind, because you're constantly doing, the least speed I saw in the car for 2 hours was 182 kph, and the maximum we saw was 210, 211 or something. So you're constantly banging in speeds above 200, above 180, and then you're under 210. So this thing is finally so much into your mind that you actually can't feel speeds anymore. So I was out on the road, and I was just driving my car out, and I was looking at the road and driving straight, and I was actually thinking that I'm going very, very slow, and I was wondering if I'm sleepy or what it is with me. I was alone in the car. I was actually thinking I was doing some 40, 50 kph, and I actually glanced at the speedometer of my Jetta, and I realized I was doing 140. So, the whole speed perspective had reset in my mind. Then I just told myself, that things can go wrong if I start driving the way I think that I'm driving on the bowl. And it took me like better part of a few days to actually undo that whole thing from my mind, and then actually start feeling 100 kph as 100 kph and 60 kph as 60 kph on the road. Varun also had a very different feeling. He shared the exact same perspective as me. He took a bit of time to actually get this whole thing in his mind, and after that, we both clicked onto it and we started enjoying the whole thing. It was a little bit of a reset in our mind to start doing, driving a car. In a way, I would say this is a little stupid fashion of driving, because you don't expect, on a racetrack, you actually go down the straight, you hit the brake, you down a gear, and then you turn the wheel, and then you go on gas. So, that's the perspective of actually entering a corner. But then here, you're told to go down the straight and then lift for 2 seconds and then go back on throttle with no brakes. Kind of a scary feeling, right? Actually, as I was talking, I was in the car now. When you need to tell something, you need to be in a zone. So I think we're enough now.